Welcome to another episode of the Mastermind, Body, and Spirit Show. I am your host, Matt Belair. Today's guest is an Australian-American investor, entrepreneur, speaker, and former Sports Center anchor on ESPN. He is the CEO of Swanwick Sleep and creator of blue light blocking glasses, Swannies. He is the author of the 30-day no alcohol challenge, which helps people reduce or quit alcohol. Forbes listed James as one of 25 professional networking experts to watch in 2015. He is the host of the James Swanwick Show and has interviewed celebrities including Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, George Clooney, and Arnold Schwarzenegger. He has been interviewed by the Huffington Post, Entrepreneur Magazine, Psychology Today, and Yahoo Health, and TV shows Live with Kelly and KTLA. Welcome to the show, James Swanwick. What's up, brother?
Matt, great to be here. Thanks very much for having me.
Yeah, man. Nice to connect with you as well. Man, I was reading your bio and getting to know you before the show, and you were up to 100 million different things. Do you want to just give us a little bit the background around your journey and some of the things you've done, and then we'll kind of dive into whatever you feel is most important because you really have a wide, diverse background.
Yeah, well, I'm from Brisbane, Australia, and I was a newspaper reporter for about 6 years right out of high school. And then when I was 23, I went over to London, England for about 4 years, and I worked as a sports journalist at Sky Sports, which is kind of like the British equivalent of Fox Sports. Then I made a big mistake, and I fell in love with a British woman who broke my heart. And I was so upset with that breakup that I got on a plane and flew to Los Angeles, California for no reason other than I just wanted to get away from my heartache. I ended up living in a hostel for about 90 nights, at the Hermosa Beach Hostel, where I made some cash under the table, if you will, on a job site doing some construction work. And then I figured out how to interview movie stars for a living. I interviewed Brad Pitt, Angelina Jolie, John Bon Jovi, a few other people, and created a little business interviewing movie stars in LA. And then started a PR company in 2010, but then I lost it just as quickly as I started it because of the financial crisis. Quit drinking in 2010, became a Sports Center anchor on ESPN for a couple of years, quit to become an entrepreneur, struggled for a couple of years, and then the last couple of years, I seem to have got it right a little bit, I guess, with two of my companies. I help people sleep better with my Swannies blue light blocking glasses. And then, as you said, I help social drinkers reduce and quit alcohol with my 30-day no alcohol challenge program.
Wow. Yeah, that's fascinating stuff, man. Very diverse, interesting journey. So I guess let's touch on sleep first, like the glasses, why sleep is important. I know that a lot of people actually struggle with that. I personally don't because I can sleep anywhere, anytime. However, a lot of my friends that have problems with it say that's a huge gift because, the quality of your sleep is going to affect everything else in your life. So maybe we can start there.
Slept okay, but it was never great. And then my friend of mine I was having dinner with, and he was wearing a really ugly pair of kind of like UVEX safety goggles, the kind of pair that you might wear if you were at a gun range or protecting your eyes if you were doing the gardening. And there was a very attractive group of women at a table next to us, and I said to my friend, get those ridiculous glasses off. You look ridiculous, and you're making me look ridiculous by association. And he said, no, man, I'm trying to block the blue light. And I said, what blue light? What are you talking about? And then he went on to explain that blue light is emitted from your TV screen, from your cell phone, from your computer screen, from your laptop, from your iPad. There's too much light at night, and all of that electronic display is emitting a blue light, which tricks your brain into thinking that it's daytime at a time when it's actually nighttime. Now, the problem with that is this. If you have trouble falling asleep, if you toss and turn in the night, or if you wake up in the morning feeling tired, even after having 7 or 8 hours sleep, you may have been exposed to too much light at night. And so what do we do in relation to that? How do we fix this problem? Well, the best thing you can do is literally sit in the dark and don't turn on any lights and don't use your electronics and light a candle, because candlelight does not mess with your melatonin production. But let's face it, it's 2018. No one's really going to do that, right? We're addicted to our electronics. We're addicted to light. The light bulb, keeps us up doing things when the sun goes down. So light. And I created a pair of stylish blue light blocking glasses. They're called Swannies. And I wear these glasses about an hour before I go to sleep each night. The orange lens blocks out the blue light. Orange is the exact opposite of the color blue, so blue light cannot penetrate those lenses, which means that I'm able to watch Game of Thrones on HBO on a Sunday night. I'm able to scroll through my Instagram feed while lying in bed. I'm able to work on my computer late at night while wearing these glasses, and I'm able to do all of those things without compromising my sleep. I take the glasses off after I've turned the last light off, and then I fall straight asleep. I sleep deeper, and I ultimately wake up feeling refreshed.
Awesome. Yeah, that's awesome, man. I had the blue. There's an app you can get on your phone as well that will set your phone to kind of change a little bit of the color at night. It's supposed to improve the sleep, things like that. So it is interesting to kind of bring this into awareness, because electronics and your phone and everything this is like a new problem, right? Like a couple of years ago, we weren't always staring at our phones so much. So we actually have to figure out these technologies that can help us navigate, these things. So interesting.
Yeah. The setting you're referring to is probably called night shift. If you have an iPhone, it's called night shift. And if you have an Android phone, it's called twilight. And then there's also a free app you can download onto your computer called Flux. And all of those apps, what they do is it reduces the blue light level in those displays, which makes your screen go a little bit orange, a little bit amber in color. Those things help. They're tremendous. But none of those things can block the light from your kitchen light, your television screen, your bathroom light, which is why wearing a pair of blue light blocking glasses like these Swannies in addition, night shift and Flux can really improve your sleep patterns.
Awesome. Yeah, that's interesting. And I actually was watching a talk by Dan Winter, who's this physicist. He's a really smart guy, but he really talks about the damage of incandescent light bulbs and fluorescent light and all that kind of stuff. He goes into detail on the physics. I don't know what I was looking at, but he was very adamant that all of the artificial light, and especially at nighttime, is actually damaging not only to your mind, but the way your brain functions and things like that. So there is a lot of science out there that is kind of showing us that. And we don't live in a time where it's natural to go turn on a candle, although it's a lot more, it feels different. A candle light feels different. Fire always feels great and when you have that kind of ambiance and experience, but we don't always have that accessibility. So why don't we just jump into the book, because that was actually the reason why I want to have you on. Looking at the book, the 30-Day No Alcohol Challenge, I think it's something that's very prevalent in our society today, over drinking and even just casual drinking. What's been your experience since quitting alcohol, or some of the experiences you've had with clients and people who have shifted? Because I know even just a little bit can actually, it can, you just quit it full stop and you can experience some severe and drastic life changes.
Yeah, well, look, just to create context, I was never an alcoholic, and I never drank too much. I drank enough. I guess I would be what society would call a social drinker. I had a couple beers, a couple nights per week. I might have had a couple glasses of wine with dinner. Some weekends I might have drunk, 3, 4, 5 drinks. Sometimes over the years I got drunk. Ridiculous. Except for the fact that I put on a few more pounds and I started to slow down and I didn't sleep as well and I was irritable and lethargic, and I just realized one day when I woke up in 2010, I just feel average. I just kind of feel slow, and I'm feeling these these 1 or 2 drinks the night before when I wake up in the morning. And so I said to myself, I wonder what I would feel like if I just quit for 30 days, just as a test, just to see what happened. So that's what I did. And in 30 days, I lost 13 pounds of fat. My skin improved. My sleep improved. The friendships I had changed dramatically. I was less irritable. I was much nicer. And then what I found too was that I started to attract a much higher caliber of person into my life. It wasn't that my existing friends or social network were low caliber. It's just that when I quit alcohol, it was amazing how I started to attract people who also didn't drink, or people, where drinking wasn't needed in order to have a good time. So that led me down a path of things like meditation and going to the gym and exercise, learning about communication strategies, eating better. I started eating the paleo diet lifestyle. And then I put on some muscle. I've got some muscles now, which I started to build, which I didn't have before. And then I started 2 businesses, both $1 million businesses now. I had a lot of clarity, productivity, happiness. Just a social drinker, and created a whole host of other positive habits, which has made me more money, given me greater health, improved my relationships, and made me happier.
Awesome. That's really cool. And so what, with releasing the book and sharing that, like what is within the book, and what's your hope for the reader if somebody's like, either a lot of people overdrink or even just the casual drinker, like what's your aim with the book?
Yeah, the book's called The 30-Day No Alcohol Challenge, and it's really just to show a social drinker how to quit for 30 days. Now, I'm not saying you got to quit forever. I'm just saying quit for 30 days and see how you feel. And so what I do in the book is I outline how you can have fun without drinking, what to say to friends when you're out socializing who are encouraging you to drink, what to drink instead. So it really gives you that accountability, if you like. It just gives you that support to give up. Because a lot of people are always worried about, if I give up, what am I going to do? I'm going to be so bored. My friends are going to judge me. My friends are going to think that I'm an alcoholic when I'm not an alcoholic. How am I going to even go out and enjoy myself when my other friends are drinking? How am I going to do that? And so I walk you through just a couple of little, tips and techniques on how you can do that and have a great time. And not only have a great time, but probably have the most fun of all of your friends when you're out and about while drinking soda water or while drinking water or anything non-alcoholic. It's amazing how much money you save when you quit drinking too, Matt. And it's amazing how much weight you lose if you're looking to lose fat. And it's amazing how you just get stuff done. And people start to find you much more attractive in many ways. Like, just one warning, a big warning actually. If you quit drinking for 30 days, you will get better looking. So don't say that I didn't warn you, okay? Because what actually happens is that the toxins leave your skin, and so your skin starts to glow, and people go, oh, have you been working out? Oh, have you lost weight? Oh, have you look really healthy? What's been going on? So yeah, just a warning, you will get better looking if you quit alcohol for 30 days.
Well, yeah, I totally agree with that. For me, I've done stints of time where I've stopped drinking for months at a time, and I think it's very important that whatever you're doing habitually, if it might not be the highest quality of habit, say it's drinking or smoking or marijuana or whatever the case is, to test without it, so what it feels like to not have that substance or not have that pattern. And also 30 days is that nice amount of time where it's very, very doable. And it's also the time where, they say it takes about 28 days to create a habit. So it's going to really allow you that deep experience to just kind of test, see what it's like. And if you want to come back, at least now you know the difference, and if you'll know if the habit has served you.
Yeah. Look, alcohol is not the devil, right? It's fine in moderation. But if it slows you down, if it holds you back from any of your goals, then it is the devil, right? So it's okay if you want to go out and have a couple drinks, as long as it's not affecting your sleep, as long as it's not affecting your relationships, your productivity, your finances. That's okay. Keep drinking. I don't care. That's all good. There's no big deal there, right? But just ask yourself this question. Is my social drinking slowing me down in life? Is it affecting my happiness, my finances, my friendships, my health? And if the answer is yes, then maybe just experiment with a 30-day break. Don't put this pressure on yourself, I've got to quit, I'm never going to drink again. That's all right. A lot of people who take my 30-day no alcohol challenge program, they'll quit for 30 days, and a lot of them go back to drinking, but they go back at a far reduced rate than compared with when they stopped. And then a lot of people stay quit. I've had members now who've taken the challenge at 30daynoalcoholchallenge.com, and they watch the videos, they stop for 30 days, they feel so great, they just keep on going. And I've had people now who've gone like a year and a half without drinking and completely transform their life. And they weren't alcoholics to begin with. That's the thing. They were just social drinkers, but they realized that drinking, that seemingly innocent 1 or 2 glasses of wine every day or beer or whatever it is, was holding them back. So get rid of the shackles and see how life is without it, just as a test.
Yeah, man. I think that's really important. It's really simple, but it's also really important. So I think that you outlined this in your book a little bit too. So how how do you have 7 ways to socialize without alcohol? What are just some of the things in there, and like just how to quit, like how to get them on that day one, like just some advice, because what you talked about before is really practical, right? The second that you are with your buddies as a male and you're like, nah, I'm not going to drink, you're just going to get it, and that's part of a lot of cultures. Australian culture, I was there before, so heavy drinking. Canada, heavy drink, pretty much everywhere is heavy drinking. So how do we kind of navigate that circumstance?
Yeah, so I just commit to having the most fun out of anyone when I know I'm going out. So I just say to myself, I'm going out, and I'm not going out like this. Oh, everyone's drinking and having a good time. I'm going to be dull. I'm going to sit in the corner. I don't do that. What I do is like, I'm going to have the most fun at this damn party. I'm going to introduce myself to everyone. I'm going to smile. I'm going to laugh. I'm going to make fun of myself for not drinking. I'm going to say, yeah, watch me get drunk on this water. Woohoo! And when people see you doing that, it's impossible for them to put pressure on you to drink. It's impossible. It's not possible. And people admire you about it. And if you're a guy, women really respect and admire it. And if you're a woman, a guy is also he's also gonna find it super attractive. So just rewiring your brain from thinking, oh man, I'm not drinking, this is tough, to yes, I only get to drink water tonight. You beauty. I'm going to have so much fun. I'm going to sleep like a baby. My skin's going to be beautiful in the morning. I'm getting better looking with every night I go out. Just that simple thing alone is enough to initiate change. The other, a partner, like an accountability partner, is huge, because change occurs amongst other people. So you can try and do it by yourself with brute willpower, but if you do it in a community of people who are also doing it, like at my 30-day no alcohol challenge community, then change becomes possible and change actually happens.
Awesome, man. That's really great. I think they say alcohol kills more people than every other drug combined, and this isn't even talking about the just like the subtle, the subtle things, like you're saying, like if you have a couple beers, like when you get older, it's a lot easier. But I can reflect back to my days in Whistler, snowboarding every single day, and drinking was the culture, and I definitely drank immensely. Now, I had a lot of fun times. They're great experiences, and had I not drank so much, the athletic ability that I would have displayed would have been a lot better. I would have been a lot in better shape. I would have probably had longer days on the mountain, although at that time I could kind of do whatever I want. But I don't know what that test is. So I think that we kind of culturally in so many different areas get swept into this culture where drinking is just the norm. And so to give us that step back just for 30 days is a really, really powerful experience, because I think that alcohol is probably the sneakiest of all of them, and it's a depressant. And if you can just kind of step back from that, give yourself the space, and you get to see what's on the other side. And then, like you said, you can kind of open up to other things like meditation and maybe like superfoods and teas and things like that, because there's such a higher vibe. And ever since I've been going to festivals and traveling in that circumstance where some people, it's just about the music and they'll dance all night without any substance and they're just stoked on the music and that's it, and it's a very different environment.
Yeah. It's big drinking days and sessions as well. And I've been to Oktoberfest in Munich, and I went to running with the Bulls in Pamplona, and I've been to rugby matches and Super Bowls, and I've had Sunday sessions watching NFL in pubs and bars across Manhattan and New York. And, the culture is there. It's encouraged. Everything around you is like, here, drink a Coors Light, have a Budweiser, here, have a vodka, here, drink some wine. Or if you go to a wedding, it's all like, drink champagne to celebrate. Well, who the hell came up with the idea that in order to celebrate, you need to drink champagne? Who? I'll tell you who. The companies who create champagne. They did a genius job of associating celebration with champagne. But you don't need the champagne to celebrate. You just need to celebrate. Just like you don't need the beers to be able to sit around and watch football with your buddies. You just got to sit around and watch football with your buddies. And you have a fun time anyway. You don't need the beer. You also don't need a glass of red wine over a candlelight dinner to create romance. Just have the candlelight dinner and drink soda water instead. Like, who came up with that nonsense that you have to have a bottle of wine if you're going to have a romantic dinner? I'll tell you who. The wine companies. Everywhere you look, liquor and alcohol companies are trying to brainwash you and trying to have you associate a good time or a celebration or romance or being a part of a tribe with their product. And when you get in tune to that and you see what they're doing, you can't watch another Super Bowl commercial without laughing again, because the Super Bowl, you'll watch it, and they'll have these Bud Light ads and these Coors ads, and there's always these goofy-looking guys sitting around on the sofa watching football, and there's a cute girl who comes in, and all they're doing really is creating this idea that in order to feel part of the tribe and in order to have funny mates and funny friends, and in order to fit in, you got to be doing it with a Coors or a Bud Light. What a load of crap. You don't need that. You just need to hang out with your friends and have fun. You don't need to do it with the alcohol. So, one more example. George Clooney, the Hollywood actor, and Randy Gerber, I think his name is, created this tequila brand. And they sold it recently for $1 billion. Pretty amazing stuff, right? But there was this billboard of them up on Sunset Boulevard, which I'll never forget. And it was the two of them sitting down, drinking a bottle of this tequila and laughing, looking really cool and sophisticated. And then there was another billboard just of Clooney in this liquor brand. And the inference is that if you want to be cool and sophisticated and stylish like George Clooney, Randy Gerber, then drink tequila. What a load of shit. Why don't you just wear the leather jacket and ride the motorcycle and don't drink the tequila? Why don't you just hang out and be cool, calm, and suave and sophisticated without drinking the wine or the beer or the tequila? So stop falling prey to these subliminal marketing messages and just have fun without the alcohol. It's a much better, more economical, healthier, and in my opinion, a lot more fun way of living life.
Yeah, brother. I totally agree. Well, and my background too is I studied psychology and persuasion, and one of my first curiosities is why do we still have war? And that got into persuasion and mass persuasion and things like that. So I started to look into all of it, advertising, things like that, and it's so obvious. Like every single ad on TV, right? You got the Super Bowl, you got that, and then you've got it in music. It's everywhere, right? So you go to the club. It's so funny. And I just remember, I don't even know where I was. I think I was just in Toronto at a pub, and like the Rihanna song comes on, and it's just like one of the ways in advertising to get your point across is repetition. And so the hook of the song is like drink, 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 drink. You know what I mean? It's just stuff like that. And I'm hearing it from like a hypnotic, how I would want to do that. And it's kind of a bummer because it really is powerful to the subconscious mind. It is really, that's why you really have to separate yourself and be strong-willed and use a community and use support systems to get out, because the subconscious mind is very easily persuaded. And when it's all around you, including on your inner circles and everywhere you look on TV, and even if you're conscious enough to notice it in song and in billboard and on TV, it's still kind of sunken in. So you got to create that support system. And I would love to see the day where we popularize and we make sexy, being healthy and, like green teas and superfoods, because on a smaller scale, you could say something like Red Bull, all the athletes are holding Red Bull and the MMA stars are holding Monster. Well, if you have a 4-year-old kid or an 8-year-old kid, the last thing you want to do is give them a Monster, and so some of the snowboarders in the culture when I was Whistler, they kind of sponsored themselves with drink water. And so I think just social responsibility as well as bringing that into awareness. So looks like you're going to comment. What do you got?
Yeah. No, absolutely. It's when you start, the first thing is awareness, right? Once you see how people are selling you stuff, then you see it everywhere. Your reticular activating system kicks in, and then you go, now I see how they're selling me that wine. Even when you go down and sit in a restaurant, right? You sit down. And what does the waiter say to you? The first thing the waiter and waitress say when they come over after they introduce themselves, they're always like, "Hey, can I get you started with some drinks?" Right? Well, what would you like to drink? Can I take your drink order? Well, hang on, I didn't ask for any drinks, right? So already they're leading you down a sales path, which is you should drink. Here's the menu. Have a look. And it gets to the point where you almost feel awkward if you're saying, "Oh, just water, please." It's almost like they're like, "Oh, really? Really? Now you're not going to spend money in our restaurant. You're just going to order the food." Because the restaurants make all their money from the alcohol sales, right? So they hate it when you walk in and you don't order alcohol. They hate it. They love it when you sit down there and order alcohol, because that's a huge money maker for them. But again, when you go, I'm staying in a hotel as we're recording this, and I went down to the bar last night just to ask for a food menu. And I said, "Oh, can I get the food menu, please?" And the waitress said, "Sure," and gave me the food menu and said, "Oh, can I get you a beer, glass of wine?" It's like I didn't ask for it, but they're trying to lead me down that path, right? And I said, "Oh, no thanks, water, thank you." And, there wasn't any reaction or otherwise, but I'm just saying, like, understand that every time you walk into one of those environments, people are trying to sell you something. They're trying to encourage you to just to show you what is the societal norm. And the societal norm is, well, you must drink alcohol with dinner. Well, you must drink alcohol if you're going to order food from a bar. That's just what you do. Everyone does it. No, you don't. It's nonsense. So just be aware of that and just smile. Whenever anyone offers me a drink these days, I just smile and say, "Yes, thanks. I'll take a water, ice, and a piece of lime, please." And that's it. Just the stock answer. And it's free. It doesn't cost you anything, and it's a lot healthier for you.
Yeah, I totally agree. A lot healthier, a lot cheaper. I think my longest stint as an adult was 5 months. And then, but I got to watch, because I'll kind of get into, for me personally, I'll start to drink, and then all of a sudden I'm drinking too much. I'm like, got to pump the brakes, because it all of a sudden becomes a new habit. So I really like the 30-day challenge, and it is a very powerful thing. So what I'd love to ask you, because it seems like, you have this really successful background. You've done a lot of different things. and you've created successful businesses, and now you're really kind of down the path of the 30-day no alcohol challenge. So for you, what is your goal? Like, what are you trying to put out there? What would be the ideal situation as far as like what you're pursuing in your life and your personal goals?
Yeah, well, my personal goals really is to find and meet the mother of my future children. I would say that I've got my health, I've got I haven't quite got my wealth, but I'm getting there. I've got happiness, but I don't have love. So the four pillars really for happy, for a happy life are health, wealth, love, and happiness. And I would say that I've got health, definitely. I'm on my way to wealth. Happiness is always pretty good, and then the love part, in terms of romantic stuff, I don't have, and I've been working on that, and I've hired a coach, I should say, to help me be more intimate in my romantic relationships. And by intimate, I mean opening up a little bit more, showing vulnerability. I grew up in an Australian culture where it was very alpha male, and you don't show. It was perceived to be weak if you showed any kind of vulnerability or insecurity around anything. And so I wore that personality for many, many years, and now I'm now in my early 40s. I'm unraveling that, and I'm learning how to ask for help, and I'm learning how to be vulnerable, and I'm learning how to be intimate in relationships. And because I haven't been for many years, what that's probably cost me is, a family. Like, I don't have a wife, I don't have kids, I'm single. And so connecting with a woman on a romantic level, while I've had many romantic relationships, I haven't had many long-term romantic relationships. So my challenge, if you will, at the moment is to really get comfortable at being intimate, at being vulnerable, and then also meeting the type of woman who I'd like to be with, and then ultimately, trying my best to be as successful as I can with my communication in that relationship.
Awesome, man. It's a very grounded and beautiful answer. I hope that you find the lady of your dreams and the mother of your children and all that kind of stuff. I think that the path you're on, and you keep it full of integrity and good intentions, and I think that you'll have that no problem. So I guess where I'd like to go with this is the entrepreneur side, because you have these two successful businesses, and I think, well, maybe more, and you've achieved a level of success. Do you have any advice for people out there that are kind of, let's say they're living, because what I'm experiencing a lot of anyway on the podcast and through the emails that I get is people, they want a little bit more, they're in a job and it's going well and they have stability, but they're missing a little bit of the passion side. How do they step into the passion element? So I'm just curious if you have any advice for people to, you touched on it a little bit, but to live a fulfilling life, and to, if they want to kind of explore their passions and make a living out of it, what are some of the lessons you learned in entrepreneurship?
Yeah, so a couple of statements that I live by is just do it and do it now. So they're three-word sentences. Just do it now. For the most part, I execute on that pretty well. Sometimes I don't, and every time I don't, I get annoyed at myself and say, you should have adhered to those first three lessons. So here's the thing. If you're in a job and you dislike it, or if you're in a job and it's all right, and you got this dream of doing a product or launching a business, you just got to do it. You have to. And because if you can sit around thinking about it for a year or two, nothing gets done. Now, I tried it, and I'll be honest with you. I had a job. I was hosting SportsCenter on ESPN. I was on TV. People recognized me. I got to talk about sport all day. It was cool. Like, that was a good job. But it was still a job, right? I still had to turn up. I had to answer to a producer. ESPN still told me how much money they were going to pay me. They dictated my value. And I had this dream of traveling the world and running a business from a computer and determining my own value, making my own money. to go and be an online business owner, and I struggled for 2 years, quite frankly. I mean, I really struggled, and at the time I was in my late 30s, and I'm earning less than $20,000 a year. Like, it's pretty soul destroying as a man, you know. Like you're approaching 40, you're making less than 20 grand a year, you're trying to be a business person, it's not happening. It sucks, man. Like you question yourself. Oh, maybe I should have stayed at ESPN. I should have stayed in that job. And but you know what? Things turned around for me when I hired a coach. I paid a coach called Ty Lopez, who was an online marketing mentor, and I paid him $25,000, which represented most of my life savings at the time, to coach me, and that really sped up the process. Like, for 2 years of struggling, all of a sudden, within 3 months, I'd kind of like made a couple changes and things started to kick off. And then I created the 30-day no alcohol challenge. And then I created the Swannies blue light blocking glasses. And then I did a little bit of coaching. And that was 4 years ago that I paid that money for that coaching. And now I've got businesses that have made more than $1 million. As I'm recording this now, I've just come back into Los Angeles, but I just spent the previous 2 weeks in Bali in Indonesia, and the previous 6 weeks before that in Brisbane, Australia, and the previous 6 weeks before that between New York and Toronto and Los Angeles, just traveling around. I like it. I like that. And so I guess to answer your initial question, I can't promise you that it's going to be easy. I can promise you it will probably be difficult at times, but it's worth it. It's worth it. And for me, I could either be, for me, it was like short-term pain or long-term struggle. And I went for the short-term pain over the long-term struggle. So if you're in a job you don't like it, I don't know if that's going to get any better, I don't know if that's going to improve. Is it going to be messy to start a business? Sure. But I'll take that. I'll take the short-term pain over the long-term struggle any day of the week. So my message would be just do it and do it now.
Awesome, man. You have I find a hilarious practicality and groundedness to you. It's just kind of laughing the whole way. Man, it's been a pleasure to connect. I really like the simplicity of the challenge, and I'm really happy that it's the first thing that I've seen out there. Anybody throwing out like a 30-day challenge, because we got like a 30-day yoga challenge, a 30-day this, a 30-day that, and I think that a lot of the part for us improving our lives and our health and our environment and our lives is letting go of that baggage that you're not even aware of. And alcohol, I think, is one of those baggages. So I'm definitely going to take up the challenge again, because I drank over Christmas and things got out of whack. And I've cut down immensely from how much I was, but that'd be a good reset. And I always recommend fasting as well as a pretty good reset too. So it's just inspired me to kind of take that. But I think it is a really simple, practical, and powerful thing for us to do. So I know you got to run, but before we jump off, just anything that you wish that I had asked or that you want to talk about or leave the listeners with before we close it up.
Well, I would just say this. Health, right? I help people quit alcohol for 30 days, and then I help people sleep better. That's what I do. And I can tell you from my own personal experience that quitting alcohol and sleeping better has made me millions of dollars. And it's enabled me to travel around the world. And it's enabled me to have amazing relationships with people. And hopefully one day an amazing romantic relationship. So what's the message out of that? Well, the message is if you take care of your health, then everything else seems to just take care of itself. So if you want to quit drinking for 30 days and give that a try, just go to 30daynoalcoholchallenge.com. And if you want to sleep better, then do the free things that Matt was talking about, which is download Night Shift on your phone or Twilight if you have an Android. Use Flux on your computer and get yourself a pair of blue light blocking glasses. Whether they're my brand of glasses, Swannies from Swanwick Sleep, or whether they're some other brand, just get them and start testing them and using them. Wear them for the last hour before you go to sleep each night and sleep better. Because I'm telling you, if you do not sleep well, then you don't have clarity, you don't have focus, you don't have happiness, you don't have good relationships. Your life kind of sucks. It really does if you don't sleep well. So get yourself a pair of Swannies blue light blocking glasses and wear them consistently. Experiment with not drinking and just see how your life changes. I'm telling you, like, it's not just the health thing. It's also money and happiness and relationships. So yeah, just give that a try, and I'd love to hear from you and what happens.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Well, I appreciate you coming on the show and sharing your wisdom. So 30daynoalcoholchallenge.com is the best place to get a hold of you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, if you're wanting to quit alcohol for 30 days, for sure. And then the sleep stuff, if you go to swanwicksleep.com, that's SWANWICK. My last name is pronounced Swanwick, but it's actually spelled Swanwick. So if you go to swanwicksleep.com, or you can follow Swanwick Sleep on Instagram, and also Sleep. We own @Sleep on Instagram as well. So if you want the latest sleep tips, you can always follow Sleep on Instagram as well.
Awesome. Cool, man. Well, I appreciate you coming on, and thank you for, your, like I said, your grounded wisdom. I think it's funny, but it's very simple, it's very practical, and it's going to give you tremendous results, because I know people personally who have actually done those exact things, and people have struggle with sleep and solved that, and their productivity and their clarity and everything that you said. It really does make a difference, and alcohol is the easiest and fastest route to achieving that if you are struggling with that. So totally appreciative of your mission and spreading that message. So thanks a lot for coming on, brother.
Thanks so much, Matt. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. Thanks for watching. Catch you in the next one. Peace.